Hey, Lynne, how are you?
I am good.
You doing good? I love you, and I spoke to you last night too. So I spoke to you last night,
I know.
and I called you this morning. I'm gonna call you again later, probably maybe around dinner time or something like that. Okay, hello, it's John and Justin on our full day here at Gettysburg. We got a very long day. We got a lot to do, so let's get going. My name is Jonathan, and I'm a caregiver for my wife Lynne, who has a permanent brain injury. Things are different now, but we're doing the best that we can. Join us as we experience the Lynne life. Okay, we're here at the visitor center. We're about to go in. We got to wear masks are required, and I think there's a limit about how many people can go in. So we're here early, so make sure we can get in, and then we're going to begin our auto tour of the whole battlefield. Here you'll learn all the important details that occurred on July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 1863 during the battle. First, we're viewing some of the relics of the war as we wait for the movie, and then to go in and see Cyclorama, which is actually a very awesome experience. It appears that everybody's able to keep socially distant here. They're definitely adhering to those rules, and there are some exhibits, interactive ones, that are not available. I wasn't able to videotape during the Cyclorama show, but I was able to get some images after it. Let me explain what it is. It's a 360-degree cylindrical painting painted by a French artist in 1883. The painting is absolutely huge. It's actually 42 feet high and 377 feet long. The painting, along with three-dimensional foreground models, are intended to immerse the viewer in the scene that's being depicted, which is Pickett's charge on Cemetery Ridge, known as the Angle. It's the high water mark of the Confederacy. And later we'll be wrapping up this video in that exact location. Found a friend. Just sitting here with old Honest Abe after coming out of the museum, which was excellent, absolutely excellent. We did social distancing throughout the whole thing. We just came out of the gift shop, got some cool stuff. We'll show you some of that later. And what a great start to the day. We spent a lot more time in there than I expected to, but now we're going to start out on the tour of the battlefield.
Buford's men sleep on their rifles. As the sun rises behind clouds on July 1st, wisps of mist partially obscure the figures of Confederate soldiers as they make their way across Marsh Creek, about a mile west of
We're on McPherson's Ridge right now.
At 7:30 a.m., Union Lieutenant Marcellus Jones of Illinois borrows a soldier's carbine rifle and says, "Let me have the honor of opening the ball." He rests the rifle across a fence rail. A column of rebel infantry crosses Marsh Creek. He fires the first shot of the greatest battle ever fought in the Western Hemisphere. Gettysburg begins.
Okay, we're moving up to the next auto tour route, which is
Eternal Light Peace Memorial.
Eternal Light Peace Memorial. We got a red light. This is really cool, and we got a beautiful day. It's gonna be warm. I hope we get done in plenty of time to go take a dip in the pool, because it's hot outside. This is really the best way of taking in a battlefield. I'm shooting towards the Peace Memorial right now, but we play the tour on a CD. It tells us what's going on in that area, and we can stop and look around anytime we want. We're actually looking down now towards the village of Gettysburg. I can't tell you everything that we experienced on the tour, but I can tell you some interesting tidbits, like the story about Sally, the canine mascot of the 11th Pennsylvania Infantry. On the first day of fighting, Sally became separated from the regiment during the Union retreat to Cemetery Hill. It was feared that she had been killed, but she had remained behind in Oak Ridge, still guarding her wounded and dead companions. You can still see Sally today on the backside of the 11th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry Monument, away from the road, so you have to know she's there. We're making our way along Seminary Ridge now, where the Confederate Army was lined up, so you see a lot of Confederate memorials like this one from the 11th Mississippi, and this North Carolina memorial. This work was done by Gutzon Borglum, an American sculptor most widely known for sculpting Mount Rushmore. I brought out the 360 camera to give that a try out on the battlefield. I wanted to mention something about Confederate monuments. This is the Virginia Monument with Robert E. Lee on top of it. A Confederate monument in front of a courthouse or a Capitol building is a lot different than the monuments that you see at Gettysburg, which are actually marking history. This is where things actually happen. Justin and I are now walking along in the direction of Pickett's Charge. Pickett's Charge was the culmination of the Battle of Gettysburg, taking place on July 3rd, 1863, the third and final day of the battle. It involved an infantry assault of approximately 15,000 Confederate soldiers against Union Major General George Meade's troops positioned along Cemetery Ridge, manned by about 6,500 Federals. The assault would take the Confederate soldiers over 3/4 of a mile of open ground, susceptible to cannon fire the entire time. The ill-fated assault resulted in over 6,000 Confederate casualties and marked the end of the Battle of Gettysburg, as well as Lee's invasion of the North. Now you get a good idea here how wide open it is and how exposed these troops were. Directly on the other side is the area called the Angle. This is the area that was depicted in the cyclorama painting. We will visit the Angle at the end of this video. We're atop Little Round Top. Over there is Devil's Den, where was it, the Alabama, the boys from the Alabama really had a lot of losses down that way. But what a view. The Union line of defense began here at Little Round Top and ran north along Cemetery Ridge to the edge of town. We'll be visiting Devil's Den below us a little bit later. Pickett's Charge took place way in the distance. They could actually see it happening from up here. This is the statue of General Warren. He was the chief engineer of the Army of the Potomac. He detected General Hood's flanking movement, so it resulted in the Union putting troops up on Little Round Top, which definitely protected the Union flank on that side. Next we head to one of my favorite areas of the battlefield, Devil's Den. It's a boulder-strewn hill on the south end of the Gettysburg battlefield, once used by artillery and sharpshooters. Making Justin crawl in there. Tell him he can crawl in the other side. He's all angly and he's tall, that he can bend. Isn't that good? Get in there. See where you end up.
It's rocks. I'd have to get out this way too.
Okay, go ahead. I'll see you. I have the room key, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do I.
As long as I can get to the room. In case I lose you. Come on. Can you come out?
Maybe.
You did it. You crawled through.
I survived.
Was it fun?
Yeah.
What do they call that when you're
Splunking.
spelunking?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, very famous picture, Confederate sharpshooters supposedly in Devil's Den. That's the photograph. And that's the area, and it all matches up. It's exactly it where the guy was laying. Yep. But the thing is, it would look like he was shot where, or he was photographed where he was shot, but that's not true. He was actually found some 40 yards behind me, and placed the body on a blanket and moved it to where the sharpshooter position was, and the weapon, not a sharpshooter's rifle, was placed beside the body. But Gettysburg was very well photographed at that time, and it was really the first war that was photographed. Now, I tried to get Justin to go over there and lay down so I can videotape him, but he wouldn't do it. He said he'd pass on that one. I can get him to do a lot. I got him to climb through those rocks, but he won't do this for me. Oh well. Another interesting tidbit, thanks to my sister Sue, my third great uncle, William H. Benjamin, known as Uncle Tip, was in the 120th New York at Gettysburg and was wounded on the second day, somewhere near the Peach Orchard. And just north of the Peach Orchard, there is a monument for the 120th New York Regiment. So we finally made it to the angle. This is the opposite end of Pickett's charge, where 15,000 Confederate soldiers marched across 3/4 of a mile. It was the opposite side. There is where the Virginia Monument with Lee atop is located, that we shot earlier. And this is also the area that is depicted in Cyclorama. This is also where General Armistead and a small group of Confederates made it to the wall and actually came over the wall. Eventually they were pushed back. They're down where Justin is right now. And sadly, Armistead was mortally wounded. And his good friend, General Hancock, was on the Union side. He was also shot. Hancock ended up surviving. Armistead did not. Coming to you from the angle on the Gettysburg battlefield. We'll see you next time on The Lynne Life.